All right. So today our class is going to be on love the fool, the trickster, and the sigma. So we're going to be learning about different archetypes, different, I would say, ways of being when you're first starting out with new information, when you are wanting to be in a new place in your life. Oh my, what just happened to my camera? What just happened? Oh, bloopers. Hold up, my camera's being acting up.
There's always a little challenge before something big happens.
I heard that. All right, but yeah, so we're gonna be getting into it. Getting into this class. I don't know why I love this class. All right. Well, I was supposed to say the fool, the joke, and the sigma, but okay. I love the fool, the joke, and the sigma, right? Investigation. I'm trying a new format where it's a four-step format to the classes, which is going to be investigation, information, instigation, and integration. So this is investigation. What makes the Joker the most powerful card in the deck? Why is the Joker in Batman so powerful? How can being a fool be a good thing? What are other versions of the fool? Why was the jester so powerful in the court? How can laughter be used? So we're going to be breaking this down, getting into those questions. What the questions we're going to get into, but those are just some questions to be thinking about as you're going through this, as well as how can I use this today? All right, so images of the fool. So these are what we call tarot. Tarot, everybody talking about the tarot decks, you know what I'm saying, about people be pulling cards or whatever, but we're going to talk about the symbolism because this is the fool. This is what it looks like. We're gonna be breaking down the image a little bit because I read the book on it. So this is the fool. You got this man in this colorful and in this colorful swagger, looking up. He's looking up at the goal upon the cliff, looking just like wow, looking at the world. He has this stick that's carrying a bag and a white flower in his hand with a dog. So this has a bunch of different symbolism in it, right? We're gonna break this down. One, the man's looking up, so that's him being goal oriented. In the book, it says that this stick is actually a wand, but he's gripping it so carelessly because he's the fool in the sense of he doesn't know that this wand is powerful yet. He doesn't know that he has a wand within his arsenal, and he has his baggage, which is you would say his experiences. He has experiences behind him, not in front of him, because he's looking to new experience. He's looking to the new, and he has the old behind him on the back. Now he has this dog, this white dog, which was said to represent loyalty, as well as this white flower, which the flower is in a sense the symbol of blooming. It's a flower is a very beautiful thing. It's a passion. A white flower is whitening is purity. So you got a white flower passion. So it's your passions, who you are being accelerated to the most purest level, which in this case, he is the epitome of new possibilities, new things happening. And this is one of the cards in tarot. This is actually the zero card from what I read. I don't know if it's true, but it's the zero card. So card of possibility. It can go anywhere. As you can see, it has a zero right there. So these are the depictions, different depictions of the fool. All right. So imagine yourself entering a strange landscape, a world of magicians, of people hanging upside down, of dancers in bright air. You can enter through a leap from a height, a leap from a height. I've said that twice. See, through a dark cave, a labyrinth, or even a rabbit hole chasing a Victorian rabbit with a watch. I hope you know this reference. Whichever way you choose, you are a fool to do it. Why look into the world of the mind? Oh my. When you can stay safely in the ordinary landscape of job, home, and family. And that's from the 1778 Degrees of Wisdom Tarot Journey to Self-Awareness. So that's what that was from. Which is basically saying this when you enter to a new world, whichever way you answer, you're a fool because you're going away from the known into the unknown, which we're going to talk about a little later. So these are some questions I put right here. Why would you be foolish enough to step out of your normal being? What gives you the right to do something you've never done? How will you figure it out? And these may be in one way or another questions that you ask yourself. What gives me the right to think that I can make $5 million when I've only made 5,000? You know what I'm saying? Well, what gives me what how am why would I be foolish enough to quit my job to work for myself when I might not make money for months from now? How in the world will I figure it out? One way or another, you ask yourself these questions as stepping into new places as the fool, which we're gonna go over to why this is a positive thing. Boom. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Now, this is just a quick description. There's more to this article, but here we go. So, right, the upright, when you put the card deck down and people do tarot, the card can be upwards or downwards. So, upright, beginnings, innocence, spontaneity, and free spirit. Reverse, holding back, recklessness, risk taking. Let's see here the full description. The fool is numbered 0, the number of limited potential. So does not have a specific place in the sequence of the tarot card. So it's an outlier. Interesting. The fool can be placed either at the beginning, the alpha, of the major arcana, or at the end, the omega. The major arcana is often considered the fool's journey through life, and as such, he is ever present and therefore needs no number, because you're always the fool when you try new things. On the full tarot card, the young man stands at the edge of the cliff without a care in the world as he sets out on a new adventure. He is gazing upward towards the sky and the universe and is seemingly unaware that he is about to step off the precipice into the unknown. Over his shoulders rests a modest help sack containing everything he needs, which isn't much. Let's say he's a minimalist. The white rose in his left hand represents his purity and innocence. And at his feet, a small white dog representing loyalty and protection that encourages him to charge forward and learn lessons he came to learn. The mountains behind the fool symbolize the challenges yet to come. They are forever present, but the fool does not care about them right now. He's more focused on starting his exhibition. I think that's expedition. Yes. He just focused on starting. Like, hey, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna do my thing. I like to think that that dog may one day turn into a lion, and he will turn into a warrior. Just a thought. Just interesting way of looking at it. Like his dog is gonna transform through the journey to a big old wolf. He's gonna be some warrior prince. Like you can see it. Like
I like that.
But yeah, because he was foolish enough to step out of his old way of being. This is also things that people did in the Bible. If you think about people who quit their jobs, Elon Musk, all of them, they were fools to step out of what they did and to dare to think bigger and do more and be more. But foolish thoughts, fool starts in the mind first. Interesting thing I like about it, which we didn't talk about, but the reverse of the card is, I think I'm actually gonna go to the reverse. They got reverse here. So
it's interesting. The fool's kind of a genius for doing this in a way because of his transformation.
Yeah, it's an amazing concept once you get into the fool, and we're gonna go into the Joker and all of it. But the fool reversed, so the card reverses the revolve version of the verse. He kind of like he falling off the cliff, like like he falling. The reverse suggests that you have conceived of a new project, but aren't ready to birth it into the world just yet. You may worry that you are not fit or you do not have the tools. You go to worry and doubt, skills and resources you may need to make the project a success, or perhaps you have a sense that the timing isn't right. No such thing as this is procrastination right here. Something is holding you back and you are preventing yourself from moving forward. You may choose to keep this new opportunity to yourself for now, or you might be parking it until a better time. You may fear the unknown, worrying, what am I getting myself into? It goes back to the question. As a result, you have come to a standstill worry about taking any action where you don't know the outcome. You don't know the outcome. That's subconscious mind. This often boils down to the need to control everything. Here we go. Conscious mind, ego. Mm-mm. Balance this out by knowing what the universe has your back and that you have to take this stuff forward, even if you are unsure exactly of what will happen, because this is openness. This is why the Joker is so important, which we're going to talk about. On the flip side, the reverse Joker can show you that you are taking too many risks and acting recklessly. That is that, I like to call it, that's that Aries mentality. Oh no, Aries, watch this. It's the just taking action without just bulldozing through everything without the gaining new knowledge and improving. In your attempt to live in the moment, let's drink, guys, let's party. Whoa! Be spontaneous and adventurous, you might do so in total disregard of the consequences of your actions and engage in activities that put both yourself and other people at risk. These people getting accidents because they want to drink and they driving. It's just another way of looking at the fool. It's like this is a full side. People be talking about, like, you a fool. Why would you do that? But these are the different ways you can be a fool. Either open opportunities, you say, I'm going to do everything reckless, or I'm going to hold back. So there's different ways of looking at it. All right, so, and we're going to go into what my boy Jordan Peterson talks about with the fool. I love this concept. The fool precedes the master. Like the princess, or at least the person who seeks out the princess. Seeks out the master. All right, let's see. Is it working? Oh, I got to share my sound. Oops, I got to share my sound. I know I didn't. Let me share my sound. All right. Where is it? Where is it? Share sound. Boom.
Right, from an archetypal perspective. Abraham is a fool, obviously, when he starts his adventures. I mean, the story lays it out in that manner. He's far too old to be leaving home, for example. He's a late bloomer.
All right.
You know, and then he has a lot of catastrophic adventures along the way, and certainly you could imagine that had you encountered him when he first encountered the famine in the land of strangers, when he first went out, the idea that he had followed his misguided intuitions would have been self-evident. But in the Abrahamic stories, there is this call to get out and do. And that's it. And the thing is that one of the things I've learned, to make it concretely, is that I've done a lot of different things in my life. And every time I did a new thing, I was a fool. I did it bad.
Before you get out and do, what do you have to do first?
Before you get out and do, what do you have to do first?
Yeah, what do you have to do first? You said what?
Maybe think it.
Oh, there's a word for it. There's a word for it that you have to do.
Visualize.
You have to make a. It starts with a D. What do you have to do first before you can step? You have to make a decision. You got to make a decision.
Yeah, of course.
Sadly, I was an imposter, right? Because when you first start to do something, you don't know what you're doing. But that's okay. That's an acceptance of your vulnerability, right? And your ignorance. That's humility in some sense. The willingness to be a fool in the land of strangers. That's it. The willingness to be a fool in the land of strangers. And that's an act of courage. Because you also reveal.
What's the word that he keeps repeating when he just, because it's such a powerful, I just thought about it. It's such a powerful word. What did he keep repeating? I'm gonna go back.
Probably I was thinking that, but it's probably about being the fool.
It's not that. Listen to
Let's
what
hear it again.
Strangers. That's it. The willingness to be a fool in the land of strangers. And that's an act of courage. Because you also reveal your vulnerability to the world. Okay, that's an acceptance of your vulnerability, right? And your ignorance. That's humility in some sense. The willingness to be a fool in the land of strangers. That's it. The willingness to be a fool in the land of strangers. And that's an act of courage. Because you also reveal your vulnerability.
He repeats it twice. Whenever somebody says something twice, is very the willingness to be the will, the focus, the concentration, the willingness to be a fool in the land of strangers. Or was there, imagine you just stepped into this rabbit hole. You was you stepped in this rabbit hole. You're a fool, but am I gonna make the decision? Am I willing? You're like, yes, okay, boom, take your first step. You're willing.
To the world by stumbling around. But as long as you're stumbling forward, then you're going to move forward. Now, how do you do that more concretely? You aim at an ideal, right? And you aim at an ideal that's beyond you. Now, maybe you don't.
Now, what did the fool do in that tarot dart, the tarot card deck? Where was he looking? What was he doing?
Forward. He was looking forward.
He wasn't just looking forward.
I remember he was looking up.
He's looking up and forward.
Yeah.
Is looking, that's a very distinction. He was not just looking forward, but he was looking up and forward.
Don't aim to begin with at an ideal that's so beyond you that you're crushed by its magnificence, you know? Maybe that's too demotivating to move you. But you could at least conceptualize yourself as the you that you are with fewer of the faults that you know of. And that's a good start. And I also think that's associated with the idea of humility. Take stock. Figure out how it is that you're not who you could be. And then move in that direction. And accept the consequences. You know, you're going to get slapped a lot. But maybe with each slap, you'll straighten up a little bit. Especially if you listen, even to the people who are slapping you. Because sometimes they're the ones who can reveal for you very quickly where it is that you're weak and insufficient, so that you won't have to be that way in the future.
I like that.
Yeah, I love the emphasis on the slap.
Yeah, because he's
Like,
in a
like,
sense
because
saying, he's in a sense saying like those slaps are more of a strength in a way, or a teaching.
yeah, it's a powerful thing that and noticing. But I love what he was talking about. He said something, right? He answered this question: why would you be foolish enough to step out of your normal being? What did he say to that? If you caught it.
Why would you be foolish enough to step out of your normal being?
Think about anybody who steps out and do something new. Why would they ever be foolish enough to do that?
The only thing I can think is because they want to.
What causes somebody to step out of their comfort zone?
Maybe.
Think about it. What is he looking at? Just put this person in perspective of maybe you. What is he looking at? Like, what is he looking? What is he stepping out, and what is he looking at? As maybe something that you want. If this was you, what would you be looking at if you were him?
I'd be looking at that, my future, and for me, my future would be a Major League Baseball player. So I'd be looking up and forward at that, because that's my goal.
So then, why would you be foolish enough to step out of the your normal way of being, and dare take a step? Think about it. You said, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because the only way I'm actually gonna get what I desire is if I step out of what I'm comfortable with.
Exactly. So
Towards,
it's like
towards what I desire.
So yeah, so why would this man right here, why would he dare decide to take the role of the fool? Because obviously there's something he's looking for that's beyond what he has right now.
Okay.
Now this is the. Go ahead. What you were saying?
I was just thinking, like, maybe he would do that because he feels that that's what he must do in order to achieve what he wants to achieve as the fool. Step out of his comfort zone. He has to step out of his comfort zone to achieve what he wants to achieve.
Yeah, because he can't do it in his current house. It's it's one of the things where it's like good luck trying to what's it called? Good luck trying to have parties in your mama's house all the time. You're gonna have to step out and get your own. But here we go, the innocent fool. This is another I like to call this is the child, is the inner child. Goes by many names. All right. Then it's sinful. Everything you need to know. What does this look like? Just
An angel, kind of.
oh yeah, you're right. Also, when I just looked at it, I thought it looked like Cupid before the arrow.
Kind of
But
does.
let's see. If you want to learn about the innocent archetype, no further than your golden retriever. Anything is possible. Everyone is ultimately good, and we all deserve to lead joyful, love-filled lives. This philosophy of puppies and innocence alike. Interesting. So, what makes this archetype so fun to read, to write, read, and watch? This is the character that taps into our longing for wholeness, kinder world, and well, innocence. However, that's not to say that the innocence is always lovable. Despite this simplistic view, the character has a tendency to inadvertently create chaos. As the reader and writers, before I even go further, how in the world was somebody so loving and so innocent create chaos? And what do you think? Why would you think that that would be?
Oh, man, my mind kind of splits. I would say because when you have a power like that, where you could be so always so lovable, you probably have that. I mean, it's kind of like the law. I don't remember exactly, but it's kind of like the law of opposites, where you always have that destruction on the other one. It's like an opposite thing. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
So think about we go back to just before this, right? When you step into a strange landscape, an unknown place, is that order or chaos?
That's definitely chaos, I would say.
It's definitely chaos. So the fool, how does the fool create chaos in his reality?
By stepping into the chaos, maybe.
Yeah, by stepping into the unknown. By stepping,
Huh.
if you
Okay.
literally, oh my God, I love how my room looks. You know what? I want to change the TV. I want to put it over there. Chaos. As soon as you said that, as soon as you make the decision, guess what? You're just inviting your room chaos because now your favorite socks may fall from somewhere. You might drop your bottle and it may spill all over the floor. You got to clean it up. You got to move the TV. You got to make sure the TV don't fall while you're trying to move it. And then you
Yep.
probably lose the remote somewhere. You're like, dang, where did the remote go? So with that, chaos ensues. Very much chaos ensues. So it's like the willingness that we talked about earlier is also the willingness to chaos. It's that willingness to be in chaos. Because as soon as you get into a strange landscape that's not based off of what you remember your life to be, you're chaotic. You're like, I don't know what the hell is going on here. So just think about that innocence, that fools, that innocence is still, it creates a chaos. But let's see what this says, right? Even though they're lovable and they do all this, they start chaos. Why? Because they are a fool still. They're willing to step into the unknown. And that comes with chaos, destruction. As readers and writers, our heart breaks over the hurt they feel when life comes to them hard and harsh. It does not happen to the fools. It does. And that's why a lot of people stop, right? That's the fool card upside down again now. But there are limitless ways
Yeah.
of developing the innocent archetype into an unforgettable character. This takes a deeper understanding of traits, perspective, choices that describe the archetype. You will learn. These are some of the things you'll learn. So we'll brush through this a little bit. What is the innocent archetype, right? We got the child, which I was talking about, the inner child. I feel like this is the reason why a lot of people don't step into inner child. Why? Because it starts chaos and it's not something that's normal. In the sense of you're willing to think in new ways. You know what I'm saying? You used to eat, what's it called? Burgers with patties. A child says, I don't want to eat burgers with patties anymore. I want to try fish with chili. They don't want to eat a burger with no more. You got to try something new. They said they don't want fries anymore. They want the fries boiled. They want to try boiled fries. Like this is the real thing when you step into this child. That is pure chaos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want fries no more. Can you boil them instead? What? Boil fries? Yeah, I want boiled fries. And they're gonna keep saying they're gonna get mad at you until you make some boiled fries. That's chaos.
Yeah.
We don't make boiled fries in the house. We do now because I want boiled fries. I'm gonna throw a fit. This is not what happens. Here we go. The youth. The youth. Everybody talking about how the youth is. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The millennials. They're terrible. They starting chaos, aren't they? Yeah. Get ready. You already know. This is also I would say the Aquarius child. Oh, just at the age of Aquarius, you start rebelling against stuff. The utopian, the saint, and the traditionalist. These are just different basically different iterations or different names for. I love the dreamer. That's the what's your ideal? So you're innocent fool. You know what I'm saying? Your dream becomes pure until life hits you like, dang, bro, I gotta pay bills. I wanna be an adult. Don't kids say, I wanna be an adult so I can do all this. Then they get to it, they like, dreams crushed. I gotta pay bills now. Oh my God.
Um, that's
Oh, it have this. So it's a very interesting archetype. You're probably already developing a picture on who this character is. The child's strongest characteristics are things we associate with children. They're honest, naive. Now this one, that's a powerful skill. People be talking smack about naive, but if you naive to failure, whew, you can't
yeah.
lose. You naive to failure, you can't lose. You cannot lose if you're naive to failure. They're probably already developing a picture on who this character is. The innocent's strongest characteristics are things. Oh, I read that. See, chaos already. I'm reading stuff over. All right, so let's see. Your innocent, hero, whatever, can be joy, harmony, simplicity. You know, that's why they say keep things simple. Child resistance paradox. In their mind, there's a clear line between right and wrong, and every problem has an easy solution. It's easy. Let's just do it this way. But let's do it this way. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to the store, but we don't have any gas. We'll go get gas. Like, but we don't have, it's just so simple to them. It's just like, oh, can we go to the store? Yeah, but we got to get gas. We got to do this. Okay, get the gas. Let's go to the store. I want a lollipop. Like, it's very simple. Whatever we got to do to get the lollipop, let's go and get it. Like, kids keep it really simple. Positive traits, right? Optimism. Yeah, I was brutal. I think I was brutalized for my optimism. For optimism sometimes creates a bias. I don't know. I haven't learned the whole balance between it. Health, you got some on that? The
Yeah.
optimism. Let me see. Oh, that Mr.
I mean, if I could comment, I would say optimism kind of brings a repellent to certain people. You know,
Yeah,
like
they're like,
negative people in particular
oh yeah,
when
it's
you're
all.
optimistic.
Oh yeah, loyalty. I love that. See, it brought up loyalty. That's the white loyal dog we saw in the tarot thing. Honesty and sincerity. They innocence cannot fathom deception. Unlike the juster, which we're gonna talk about, and other compulsively honest archetype, the child may have an accurate source of truth. So very interesting. Inspiration. This is my favorite. Inspiration. They like, ooh, let's do this. You know, negative traits. They're naive. That's actually positive, if you ask me. If you use it correctly, they're easily disappointed. Well, traditionally, yeah, but you don't have to consent to that. They take foolish risks. Well, that's tarot card upside down, but you have to learn. So you take foolish risks. I mean, they resist change. Mm. And they're masters of denial. So some of these can be twisted to be good things. This is me playing with my we're gonna talk about the Trickster later on, but this is me playing with it.
This is denial. I think this is an actual good representation of what is calling out right now. Like
Okay.
here, I think you will be showing the actual negative qualities right now because because the only reason I said this is because as you read the positive qualities, you were like affirming it and everything, but when it came to the negative qualities, you were like, hold up, see, we can twist this one right here,
Yeah.
or maybe we could apply this in a bit
Demonstration.
different way. So I would think that the masters of denial, in the sense, I think you just used that one. I think you just used that one. Just, I think you just used that one right there, because and it's good that because what does it say? Because I was reading it as it's going over these, because I didn't even know about this innocent archetype that is in all the ones that they bunched into it. But I'm seeing it says this character does not. Oh, wait, could you go down? Could you scroll a little bit?
Yeah.
Does not care to see the complexity of the obstacle or the flaws in their friend. As a result, they have an obnoxious tendency to downplay the struggles of others. They can be innocently loyal to someone who doesn't have the. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
I'll take
that,
that away from you. Yeah, you didn't do
yeah.
that, but that was.
Yeah, no, this one, I feel like that would be blind. That would be kind of like blind faith. I get with
Yeah,
this one. This
yeah,
one.
yeah,
My yeah, that I feel like that's blind faith. Now, what I
yeah.
was
That's
doing was a
definitely.
blend
What it is.
of a form of denial and optimism, where I'm looking at these, I'm like,
Yeah.
naive is not that bad if you use it right. Now, if you're just, I mean, when you first start anything, you're naive. It's like if I was to play a video game and I'm just sitting there like, oh man, I can whoop you in this. He whooped me. I was like, dang. Like you play a video game, you first start out, you're kind of you're kind of naive.
Yeah, yeah.
Now
Or
easily disappointed. That probably comes with the expectation. Like, I thought we were Mom, I thought we were gonna go get a lollipop. Well, we don't got no gas in the car, and then they get disappointed.
yeah, and
Now,
I can possibly see how being naive can lead to the disappointment, because when you're naive, you kind of don't know what to expect, and I think when not knowing what to expect can lead to high expectations,
yeah.
which could somehow for some people be like the quickest way to be like easily disappointed. And then I
Mm-hmm.
can see how that could correlate to them taking what is called like foolish risk, because it's not
Mm-hmm.
like foolish risk as them going on the what we call the fool's journey, but
Mm-hmm.
more so acting out of like a fear mindset or
Mm-hmm.
a reactionary mindset, trying to gain control of probably like the situation or something, maybe. Just I'm
Mm-hmm.
just speculating, just spitballing real fast.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. First thing that came to my head with foolish risk is they said they disappointed. So they said they about to go make a lollipop in the kitchen for themselves. They said we're gonna get a lollipop today. And so they go in there and start messing stuff up. And that goes back to the whole chaos. Chaos. That's probably not a good example, but that goes back to the chaos aspect of it.
Yeah,
But yeah. I love how they put, and then they resist the change. We see everything in their world is wonderful. They are perfect, people are perfect, and the weather is perfect. Anything that might challenge or change this picture is unwelcome. So that goes back to the whole innocence thing. Like we'll go into the other archetypes, but this will be balanced. Like this resistance to change will be balanced more so in the, what your goals are, so you don't change direction as far as your goals, but your way of getting there, you adapt. So like I feel like adaptation within the don't not fixed of your goals. Like this is my goal. I want to make $5 million. Now the way I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna adapt. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I kind of see that one. But yeah, the masters of denial. Now that one's like it's like some kid got tricked by their father to think he was a good person. They grow up and you find out that he was a serial killer. It's like, no, my father wasn't that way. He wasn't bad. Like, I mean, he was a serial killer. So I mean, you can be
yeah, like
denial all you want, but we have evidence that he killed people. So like, it's um it's a very interesting thing. I love rocking the boat. Now, all about harmony. So it's funny because it says earlier that they start chaos, but it's like at the same time they don't like chaos. So it's like confrontation. Ugh. I can relate to that because I have this archetype within me. Um, conflict is something with other people more so I don't like, but with myself I can do it all the time. Punishment, doesn't like getting into trouble. Yeah, that's why yeah. Rejection, that was one I had trouble with. Relationships are everything to this archetype. Thought of being abandoned is absolutely terrifying. So this one may be the thing that stops a lot of people from moving forward and actually stepping on the journey. Like you step on the journey, right? We're talking about like, oh, we got all these possibilities. Wait, you ain't know you was gonna lose people on the journey. You're like, boom, you start losing people. You're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm abandoned. And then it kind of stops you from moving forward. So it's like that innocence will adapt into the other archetypes we'll talk about. Disappointing others. Yeah, this one here. Health, you know about this one when I didn't answer your question. I felt it a little bit. I said, damn, I disappointed myself. I ain't answered the question. But yeah, that one kicked in. But I learned that's my I had accepted. I'm like, I think with acceptance, that one can be avoided. But what do archetypes do? They rally the hero. So that goes into my whole inspirational aspect. See, inspire goodness, unwittingly create obstacles thanks to their optimistic recklessness. So this is like an Aries quality. Like you just step out and do shit, but you don't know the consequences of stuff you do until you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I need to take a dial back. So like having balance, check and balance for this archetype really helps. Providing comic relief. It doesn't actually help with the chaos. And this goes back into the Joker archetype we're gonna talk about. So these are just some examples. Another class, I should probably talk about some of these examples. But that's that archetype. Now, what is this one? What's this article? Oh yeah, this is just an article that talks about children, where when you're a child, you develop subconscious beliefs around different things. You get programmed. So your framework, as far as the things we talked about, gets programmed based off of your environment around you in your first 7 years. But we're not gonna go into that too much. Now we're gonna go into the court jester. I love this one. It's very interesting. So you got, what was the first one? The fool, the innocent fool, and this is the court jester. This is a very interesting one. Very interesting one. It's very interesting. I didn't even know some of this stuff that we're gonna look at in the video. So it's a traditional court jester who, let me say that, and monarchs with his antiques and jokes is ancient. Most people associate jesters with medieval and Renaissance Europe, but in fact, the practice of retaining a jester and fool goes back way beyond the birth of Christ. Now that's interesting. That is interesting. Then it talks about the deck of cards. So there's a lot of different things. The buffoon. But we're gonna go into the actual video of it. I love the video. Because jokes, these justices got away with a lot of stuff. It's just so interesting to me. So like the way I look at this, right, is for you, when you're the fool or the innocent fool, you step out on a goal or something you want to do. And in that, you don't know what the heck you about to get yourself into. You really don't know. You're naive. So as you step through, you gain information, and you may gain disappointment. You may gain struggle. No, you will. And so then you start to, in order to keep that going and not be depressed and sad, you need to develop a sense of being a court jester, which is kind of like laughing at yourself and laughing at your ego, which is what we're going to look at this and kind of go into how court jesters were back in the day. We're not going to look at the whole video, but we're going to have access to it. If it loads it.
In the video today, we're answering a viewer question because Legit Marmalade asks us, is it true medieval jesters could insult the king in any way they wanted without risk of getting executed? And just before we get started, I do want to say that this video is made possible by the Great Courses Plus, a subscription on-demand video learning service. You can learn from the world's best professors on the Great Courses Plus, not only lecturers from the Ivy League, but also experts from places like National Geographic, the Smithsonian, etc. They've got 11,000 video lectures which you get unlimited access to. I've recently enjoyed their historical content particularly. They've got some great stuff on there from the ancient to the modern. It's all top-notch, taught by some of the best educators in the world. You can go grab one specific course. The one I'm recommending today is A History of the United States, and you might be thinking, well, what now? If so, just imagine how convenient that audio learning would be on the Great Courses /brainfood, or click the link in the description below. So, although you might assume that being made to wear a stupid costume, be mocked, and act like an idiot for the entertainment of a fatuous ruler would be a job that nobody would want, like the position of groom of the stool, a job which initially consisted of directly supplying the necessaries to facilitate a good and clean bowel movement to the king, as well as to monitor said fecal matter and make dietary recommendations based on what you saw there, the position of court jester was actually an enviable one due to it involving spending so much time with those who were in power. And as you were often putting them in good humor and otherwise making them happy, it was a position that came with a whole slew of perks.
I want to go into that. That's very interesting. Because you were, in a sense, the jester or the fool, innocent fool, whatever, you had access to power. So if you think of it in I want you to think of this abstractly. What does this look like when you were talking about the mind? When you're able to access this archetype with the goals that you're setting, or you using your mind, what does this power look like? I don't know if I asked that question right. But
I would maybe, I mean, the way I'm thinking about it, maybe you're saying like the court jester is like the conscious mind to the higher royalty, which is like the subconscious mind. Is that kind of what you're saying?
yeah, basically, like your ability to be you create by you being a fool, which is one, being open to opportunities, and being the person that's willing to cheer people up or light up your vibration, as I see it. You have access to a direct link to your subconscious mind now, because you're willing to be, in a sense, new in new ways, think in new ways, be in new ways. And now you have access to new ways of doing things because you're willing to be a fool and uplift everybody. Because think of it too, we don't have a class, I mean, article on this, but laughter exudes a high vibration. It exudes a high vibration. Because of that, you have more access to your mind when you're in a state of play and joy and laughter. So quite literally, what is it? What is up is down. So when you think of a jester, they have access to kings and all these different people. Well, when you become the same thing to yourself, you have access to regions of your mind that you otherwise wouldn't have access to. So it's a very powerful archetype to play with. Not only just having the innocence, which the innocence of the fool, but having the aspect of the jester within your ability of basically thinking and being within the world. Because people love people who can make people laugh. So it works both ways, mentally and socially.
I like that. I like that.
So, what was life actually like as a court jester? To begin with, the job of jester has been going around back to humanity's earliest recorded history, as well as spanning just about every major culture on Earth. Beyond entertaining the masses, from Egyptian pharaohs to the first emperor of China, the wealthy have frequently employed the services of these individuals. Over the centuries, this line of work matured, and as we get into medieval times in the Western world, we start to see court jesters that somewhat fit the common stereotype that's depicted today. Although it should be noted that they weren't called jesters at this point, rather usually something like fool or buffoon. The jester name, deriving from the Anglo-Norman gestur, meaning storyteller, wouldn't come about until around the 16th century. In any event, there were two popular types of court.
This just came to me. Think about what it came from the word storyteller. Think about what Steve Jobs said. He said one of the most powerful people in society is the storyteller. I think it was Steve Jobs who said that. Like, the most powerful in the society is a storyteller. If there's somebody you killed when you went in and killed somebody, it was the stories and the storyteller. So this ability to be a jester, a fool, gives you the ability to have access to stories that will otherwise change the way that you see the world, your subconscious, and everything around you. So it's power. This is a very powerful archetype. Very powerful.
jesters that were prominent during the latter parts of the medieval times, the so-called licensed fool and the natural fool. In both cases, those with physical deformities such as extreme hunchback, malformed limbs, particularly ugly visages, etc., were prized, as were dwarves. Perhaps the most famous of which was Lord Minimus, who we covered in detail on an episode of our Brain Food Show podcast, Lord Minimus, the Renaissance dueling dwarf. If you search Brain Food in whatever podcast app you like, you will find that episode. As for garb, this varied from jester to jester, but in the general case, particularly for licensed fools, they typically were clothed in colourful, patchworked and mildly whimsical outfits, potentially including a monk's cowl and a pointed, colourful fool's hat, originally modelled after donkey ears. They'd also sometimes wear donkey tails as well. As for the job description, it was surprisingly diverse, but in a nutshell, it was to entertain the court and their patron basically any time they wanted and in any way that said role wanted. This could be with some banter, performing a drama, reciting poetry or stories, singing songs, performing acrobatics, etc. When not called to perform directly at banquets and the like, they were likewise frequent companions to their patron and generally in charge of cheering them up whenever they needed that. At other times, some were given additional tasks like various household duties, running messages, etc. On this latter note, given these jesters were present and privy to the inner workings of court intrigue, they were natural candidates to carry highly confidential messages. The downside of this is that jesters were sometimes the ones appointed to carry messages around on battlefields, as well as to the enemy camp, which was never the safest place in the world. Not just useful on the battlefield for carrying messages, they also were sometimes tasked with entertaining the troops, that act as sort of a cheerleader and a comedian all rolled into one. As you can imagine from all of this, these licensed fools were usually extremely intelligent, quick-witted, and talented at many things, and needed to spend a lot of time continuing to improve and expand.
Now I want to ask a question. How in the world were these individuals able to be this diverse and be quick-witted like this? How did they develop that? Just use. How do you think they developed that?
Man.
Like think about think about what we were talking about with the fool. How were they able to develop that?
Just stepping into the unknown and trying new things. I feel like I'm sure before that they had to fail and deal with a lot of people just not laughing at their jokes or anything they said before that. But over time, you begin to learn that and begin to understand. Oh, okay, so this is funny, and this is something I should say. You know, I guess it kind of becomes automatic.
I'll think about this, right? Is it hard for a child to make a person laugh?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, so what do these jesters have on other people? If a kid can do it, what did they retain that most adults and people didn't?
Probably just their innocence.
Yeah, so think about it. He said that the jesters cheer people up. When we just looked at the innocent archetype, one of the things it said was basically they cheer people up. They're cheerleaders because they have a purity that other people don't. Why are they able to think in other ways? Well, if you think about a fool who steps into the unknown, they step in the unknown in such a way they make connections in their brains and in what they do in ways that other people don't. So they have a license, as he said, they have a license to think in ways that other people don't, and to be in ways that other people don't. So you may look at something, you may look at donkey, and they may see King Dong. They might see it so different. They may rearrange the words of the word donkey. You see what I'm saying? Versus somebody just sees it one way because they're able to do that. It's just like, oh, donkey. Why is it that way? What if I took out the O and the X and I just made it D key? It's D key now. Everyone, it's D key. That's what we're gonna call it. It's not donkey anymore. We're gonna call it D key. I like it better. Like Matthew Dickey. Like they're just able to do that. They don't care. They have that license to be able to think in ways other people don't. They said that they recite poetry, they sing. That's a purity. There's an innocence and purity that comes with that. they have a purity to be able to do that. It's a very interesting. That's why I said this archetype is very interesting. It's not just about jokes or like stepping out. They have acquired a skill that a lot of people don't have, to the point where they able to talk smack about the king when anybody else do it, they getting executed. They get executed. You think of the king as the ego. You say certain things, ego, oh, good luck. But if you're a juster doing it, how many things can the ego allow you to do that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do? What do I mean by ego? That stiffness, that logic, that always trying to think about plans and all those different things. This is a way around the ego, is by being a court jester, by being a fool. Ooh, play the video.
And their skill set in order to retain their positions, lest their patron get bored with them. As for the natural fools, they were a little different, though their general job of being entertainment was more or less the same. On the whole, these individuals were those who had some sort of mental issue and were, by their very nature, thought to be entertaining. They also were prized for their propensity to naturally speak the unbridled truth. As for the outfits for the natural fools, this occasionally seems to have differed from their licensed brethren, in that while they might wear such stereotypical outfits, other accounts have certain of them wearing clothing you might find on anyone at court in the region and era where they lived. An example of a natural fool, we have William Somers, who replaced King Henry VIII's previous natural fool Sexton, who was originally gifted to the king by Cardinal Thomas Wolsey. Moving on to Somers, while he was considered a natural fool, it's not really clear what his particular mental deficiency was. Noted as having an incredibly quick wit, being a master of satire, and occasionally giving wise counsel to the king, he ultimately became one of Henry's most trusted advisors. That said, he was otherwise apparently incapable of taking care of himself, to the point that King Henry VIII went so far as to ensure that one William Satan would be employed to take care of Somers after the king died. As an
You heard the privilege this man had? You heard the privilege that man had, being a juster? Like, that man was taken care of. I ain't have to worry about nothing. He was the king's most trusted, like basically the most trusted advisor. That the juster, in a sense, played as the wise man also. You always look at those madmen on those shows. They're coming. Do you hear them? And then the guy, those not mine. No, I don't want them. I don't want them. But anyway, like they say the most ridiculous things, but you find the king going to them in secret. Hey, Sir Knight, what about that prophecy you told us? Oh, the prophecy. Oh, the prophecy. It told of a man coming down the sea. I saw him. You see this all the time in shows. It's just another form of the juster, the individual that can see beyond the physical. It's so many ways you can look at this archetype. It's a very powerful archetype. Very powerful.
An example of one of his many antics, according to an early 17th century account by comedic actor Robert Armin, at one point the king's juggler, Thomas, was doing his thing when Somers sauntered in with milk and a bread roll in hand mid-performance. Somers then began singing, "This bit, Harry, I give to thee, and this next bit must serve for me, both which shall eat apace, this bit, madam, unto you, and this bit I self eat now, and the rest upon thy face." Then he promptly chucked the milk in Thomas's face, much to the amusement of all present. Highly favored by the king, Somers appears in a 1540.
I want you to know, this man just basically said that this juster poured milk in this man's face. The king. He poured milk in the king's face, and he didn't execute him. I just want you to understand how this works. It's just the stuff you can get away with when you a juster, when you a comedian. It's crazy. All right, so now we're gonna talk about the next one. The Joker card in the card games. I love this one. We're gonna breeze through. We're gonna breeze through this. I love the Joker card. It's the card that no one likes when you think you got somebody with an ace and then they pull out a Joker. You're like, fuck. He has a Joker. Damn it, I lost. Very interesting. Because this archetype is very, very powerful. All right, let me move this thing from my screen. All right, so let's first. So this is basically going over. So I'm looking at time. I do got it. All right, so this is basically talking about where they think. Y'all have this article. This is basically talking about where they think it came from. But I want to skip to. Where is? There's a couple things I want to talk about in this. One is like in the standard card of deck of cards, they're usually a pair of jokers because the joker is such a versatile and widely misunderstood card. They sometimes represent uninformative replacements for lost and damaged cards in the 52 card playing deck. This is accompanied by simply noting that the lost card rank or suit are on the Joker card. So what this is basically, I want you to understand what this is saying. It's saying that the Joker cards can become any card. The Joker archetype, being the Joker, gives you the ability to become any card. It has unlimited possibility. Remember we were talking about the Fool at first? It's the zero. Any possibility. The Joker has any possibility. That was just interesting. That was this card. This card is a very interesting card. Okay, let's see. What is it? So be the Joker, y'all. But there was something else in this that I wanted to see. It's also a tiebreaker in a lot of games. You got that card, you done. Right,
So who is the Joker?
That's a good question. Who made the Joker is just the well, basically what they're saying is it derived. We're actually going to talk about where they say it derives from. The different Jokers and Justice have the different Jokers and Justice have different meanings throughout history. For example, to distinguish the two Jokers on the deck, the black Joker is said to correspond with the Fool card of the tarot deck, the one we saw in the beginning. And the red Joker is said to correspond with the Magician, also known as a juggler. Oh, these are tarot. So they're saying that these originated from tarot. That's where the Joker originated from. The juggler and the Fool in tarot deck are pretty similar, but have small discrepancies in their appearance. In the tarot deck, the Fool is very close, or is the same thing as the Joker. Very close, or the same thing as Joker. The Fool and Joker just basically one and the same. Here you go, right here. It says the Joker has a great amount of power since the beginning of days and is held as the greatest ranking in a lot of card games. It's the greatest ranking. The power of the Joker is not ironically held in a comical manner, but in a manner of helping card players win the game. What does Jokers do to the court? Help them feel better so they can win the war, win the game. What did they do for the soldiers? The same thing. This is what the power of what a Joker does. And it can become any card. So that means that they're shapeshifters also. And we're going to go into what that means because now we're going to go into the Trickster. So these are just different order iterations of what the Fool is. So Fool is not actually what people think it is. It is the most powerful thing, right? It's the same way that people say you play dumb. That's a Joker's quote. Play dumb. You play dumb, people don't take you seriously. They take you as a what? If people don't take you seriously, they take you as a what?
A jokester.
Joke.
They take you as a joke. And guess how much power you have now? It's and we're gonna go into the Trickster. I love this. Come on.
In mythology and folklore, a trickster is a character in a story who exhibits a great deal of intellect or secret knowledge, and uses it to play tricks or disobey normal rules.
Oh my gosh, okay, my screen was acting a little weird. Let me put this quality up. I don't know why it's putting it on 4 bad pixels. All right, there we go.
Rules and defy conventional behavior. Tricksters as archetypal characters appear in the myths of many different.
I want y'all to catch what he said in the beginning. That's key. Oh,
mythology and folklore, a trickster is a character in a story who exhibits a great deal of intellect or secret knowledge, and uses it to play tricks or disobey normal rules and defy conventional behavior.
Just what did he say a trickster does with the information that he learns?
Sounds like it takes a piece of information that the trickster knows and uses that in certain situations, maybe to get what they want.
Yeah, that, and it uses to play tricks and basically push boundaries. But you have to be fool enough to gain that information. So it goes back to just stepping out. So the fool can, because remember, the fool replaces any car, so that means the fool has to become the adventurer. One and the same.
Tricksters as archetypal characters appear in the myths of many different cultures. Lewis Hyde describes the trickster as a boundary crosser. The trickster crosses and often breaks both physical and societal rules. Tricksters violate principles of social and natural order, playfully disrupting normal life and then re-establishing it on a new basis.
That's, oh man. I stopped writing a quote. In short, the trickster is the boundary crosser. So when you think about, when we were talking about at the beginning, that guy looking up and he's looking up on the horizon, he's like, yeah, this is what I want. Right? He's crossing boundaries. And the more you are willing to become the fool and the trickster, the more you can become literally anything. You become like a shapeshifter. Every group has an edge, and people who are fools, they push it. This is what Elon Musk is doing. In a lot of ways, he's pushing boundaries.
In short, Trickster is a boundary crosser. Every group has its edge, its sense of in and out, and Trickster is always there, at the gates of the city and the gates of life, making sure there is commerce. He also attends the internal boundaries by which groups articulate their social life. Often this bending or breaking of rules takes the form of deception or thievery. In many myths around the world, tricksters are honored for the creation of culture. They often cross boundaries, confusing distinction, but they also create them. Lewis Hyde in his book, Trickster Makes This World, wrote, "Boundary crossing and boundary creation are related to one another. And the best way to describe Trickster is to say simply that the boundary is where he will be found, sometimes drawing the line, sometimes crossing it, sometimes erasing and moving it, but always there."
This is a powerful quote. I feel like this is very interesting, right? Very interesting. Boundary crossing and boundary creation are related to one another. So it's like when you want more for your life, when you are looking to do more, when you're looking to be more, you're crossing, but you're also creating boundaries. You're crossing and you're creating them at the same time. The best way to describe the trick and imply that the boundary is where he will be found. Because as you saw, the fool at the beginning, the tarot card, where is he at? What boundary is he at?
He's probably at a boundary where he doesn't want to look back, where he wants to step forward.
Look at the card. What boundary is he at? Look at where his feet is.
On the edge.
This is the boundary. He's at the edge. This is where he at. He's at the edge. That's the boundary he's at.
Wow. Gives it a whole new meaning.
He's redefining the edge. All right, so it says the boundary is wherever he will be found. Sometimes drawing the line, like for people who he don't want in this life anymore, here's our line. Sometimes crossing it. He said, okay, I want to be something more. Sometimes erasing it completely. That's the chaos. And then sometimes moving it. He's always there, but it says the God of the threshold in all its forms. The God of the threshold. That cliff that the fool standing on that in that card deck is a threshold. And then he's going to stand on another threshold. He's going to stand up. So he's constantly on the edge of order and chaos. Think about it. When you're thinking about a juster who is in the court and he's talking and he's doing all he's doing, that man is on the edge. Because even though he can say whatever he wants, he's on the edge of either I'm gonna be bored, I'm gonna bore these people, or I'm gonna be funny. And he's just sitting in the middle, like coming up with stuff just right there, just like boom. He got to be quick with it. He got to do all that because he's constantly pushing thresholds. Because he has to upgrade his amount of funny the next time. You got to be funnier the next time, funnier the next time. He's constantly pushing. So he's always he's always on the threshold. Always on the threshold. So the innocent archetype, the fool, the innocent fool shifts into the juster being able to joke and play around. That shifts into the trickster because now you have gained tricks to be able to constantly push thresholds, constantly and persistently. And everything you do, you push another threshold, you push another threshold. And people just don't know what you're going to do next. Because you're always defining new boundaries. Oh, dang, hold on. Let me keep it.
God of the threshold in all of its forms. A culture is the set of customs, traditions, and values of a society or community. All these components are developed or brought together by a unifying myth. As Hyde says, these myths are only stories, and stories are only lies, but lies are all we have. By this we shouldn't assume that the myths and customs of any given society are arbitrary. It's often the case that the customs or myths of a society have made up for some deficiency in that society. To put it in Nietzschean terms, the myths of a society have been devised only for the purpose of meeting certain psychological needs. The trickster is an important archetype in the history of humanity. He is the wise fool. It is he through his creations that destroys and points out the flaws in carefully constructed societies.
Remember what they said about the justice. They're also advisors to the king. Why? Because they can say whatever they want. So they can advise the king on anything because they are so close. So they're always pointing out vulnerabilities. And guess what? They always making people laugh. If you don't find their joke funny and everybody else finds it funny, guess what they just did? They just found your weakness. Because obviously that's a vulnerability you have in your armor if you can't laugh at yourself in that area. So now it's asking you, like, if there's an area in your life that you can't laugh in, that you're depressed, that you're not joyful in, guess what? That means that there's a trickster that you need to put right there to make you laugh. You have to now laugh at yourself. It was in one of the iterations that one of the justers, they said the justers have to break the bad news to kings. And they had to do it in a joke. So you imagine somebody losing the war and you have to go and tell the king that bad news and you have to tell it in a joke. Like, just imagine you went bankrupt in your business and you turned it into a joke. Like, the ability to be able to do that takes a lot of intelligence. That's not an easy thing to do. And then go say, guess what? I'm going to go do it again. I'm going to go push the boundary again. Like, how the fuck do you do that? How you laugh at it and then say, okay, we're going to try it a new way. That takes a lot of, it's unrivaled. It's unrivaled.
He rebels against authority, creates convoluted schemes that may or may not work.
He rebels against authority. And what was the other one? I want you to catch it. Oh.
He rebels against authority, creates convoluted schemes that may or may not work.
He rebels against authority.
Convoluted schemes that may or may not work.
He's rebelling against authority. What's authority? Authority is your old paradigm, the old way you used to believe things, the beliefs that you have in your. He rebelled against it, and then he creates schemes that may or may not work. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna create a plan, and I'm gonna do it. He creating plans, and he's like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, that scheme didn't work. Let's try another one. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try another one. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try another one. And he's doing this while laughing at himself. It didn't work. Let's do it again. Oh my gosh, I killed the whole society. Oh shoot. Let's try it again. Isn't that what the Joker does? This is the power of doing this. This is why you wonder, like, how does a freaking Joker think like this? Because this is what he's doing. He does not think the same way twice. He's always thinking in new ways, always doing something new, always looking at something in a new way. You can't fathom the way he's thinking because it's different. Because he laughs at himself. And then he uses the laughter to create something new and push the boundary again.
He plays with the laws of the universe and is sometimes his own worst enemy. He exists to question, to cause us to question and not accept things blindly.
We're gonna end it off right there. Y'all had a video. He advises us to question. And it's like a child, right? They're like, why can't I buy that at the candy store? Like, they asking you questions like, this is just the way it is. But why is this the way it is? But why, Mom? Why? And then you get frustrated. No, I don't get frustrated. They ask you a genuine question. Why is this life the way it is? And if you're willing to answer that question, like, well, it's because I consented to what? That boundary. So what the child gonna do? Well, let's create a new one. Chaos. And people don't like chaos. And then you become the fool. It's the same, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's a very interesting thing. It's a very interesting. And you do this if you're willing to do this all the time, your life shifts. It's a funny example of it. This is a funny example of it. I love this show. I love this show. He's so funny to show up. This man said Miami Beach. This ain't no, you see, bro, pure imagination. Miami Beach. You fucking serious? This is literally, it's like you walking into a house where everybody's depressed and sad, and you're like, oh my gosh, today is so good. Oh shoot. Everybody's looking at you like, bro, our grandma just died. Oh, what are you talking about? I just bought a lollipop. Y'all want to see it? He said Miami Beach. This is like Miami Beach? No, but in his mind, he see Miami Beach. This is how the trickster works.
Hooray! Yahoo! Whee! Yippee! Yippee! Hooray! Whew. Man, dig this crazy beach. Hey, there's a park over there.
He think first, look, he realized this is the naivety, right? This naivety we talking about. Oh, it's Miami Beach. This ain't no, he figured it out. He's like, hey, it's a crazy beach. He still think it's a beach. This the naivety. But in his mind, he's like, beach. He looked over there, he said, oh, there go a park. What? That's a park? This how this archetype is.
If that's where the water is. So this is the big pond. Big deal. I always pictured the Atlantic Ocean as so much bigger. Well, as long as I'm here, I might as well take a dip.
As long as he's like, huh? I thought it was bigger. Well, I guess I'm gonna just take a dip. Like, he's still naive. He doesn't know that this is actually what it's just a puddle. To him, it's still this is how this.
Whoa, Camel! Whoa! Whoa! Whoa, Camel! Whoa! When I say whoa, I mean whoa!
Singing in the bathtub.
Now I hope that'll learn you, you humpback muley.
Now this recklessness. What are you doing? You see this? Recklessness, willful blindness.
What's up, Doc?
I'm Riff Raff Sam, the riffiest riff that ever riffed a raff. Why,
Bro,
follow that rabbit. Giddy up. Come on, Camel, giddy up. Giddy up. Yeah.
dude got a smile on his face the whole time. This man's shooting at him. This is how this archetype works. You can't tell me Joker don't do this.
Yeah, yeah, Camel. Giddy. When I say giddy up, I mean giddy up. Whoa, Camel. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, Camel. Whoa. When I say whoa, I mean whoa. Open up, I say. Open that door. Close it. Close it.
Look, he set the boundary and then he opened it back up on his face. This is how this archetype works. It's
Close it. Close it.
Oh yeah.
You, Mr. Arab.
Okay, Rabbit. I got a bead on you.
bro, this is you see, he's not just naive, but he's intelligent. You just wouldn't think
He's
he's intelligent.
impenetrable.
He's impenetrable. He has an innocence that is impenetrable. No matter what you do, you're not gonna get him. Like this is how this works. This is how this art. It's a very interesting archetype once you understand how powerful it really is. It's like, dude, he's shooting at you. Like, what are you doing? He's like, he's just foiling all of his plans. But you wouldn't think he'd be able to do that if he would. Like, this is how this Joker mentality works. It's just it works that same way. He just keeps doing it too. It's like it's a concept. It's a very powerful thing to tap into. So now we're gonna go into the last one, which is the Sigma. This is another archetype I like of the Joker. This is another interesting one. But yeah, any thoughts on this from y'all thus far?
Just. it's
So what
good.
is a Sigma male?
That's what I think.
All right, let's get it.
In simple terms, men who fall under the category of Sigma exist outside the alpha and beta binary classification. They're characterized as being highly independent and original with little or no regard to societal perceptions. He is a man who chooses to live his life outside of the normal social dominance hierarchy of society. People find them reserved, aloof, and somewhat enigmatic. Because they are such a private bunch, it takes a while to really get to know a Sigma. They prefer a tight, intimate circle of acquaintances over a broad, open one. A Sigma man speaks little, but wisely. Let's see some characteristics of a man who falls into the category of Sigma. 1. They aren't attention seekers. Sigma males don't seek attention or validation from others. When they do get it, they don't live for it or thrive on it. They tend to gel into the background and listen and observe rather than be the center of attention.
Now I want to play on this concept, right? If you think about the Joker, you would initially like, you know what I'm saying? Well, the Joker, he's the center of attention, everything like that. But think about it, he's still goal-oriented. He's the center of attention in the sense of he now has the power to get whatever he wants from the king and everybody else by playing that role. but he's a lot more intelligent than that. So do you really know if the Joker or the Juster is really an attention seeker? Or is he just playing the role of an attention seeker? Because guess what? The Joker card can be any card if it wanted to. So really, it's a very interesting. When you think of the Joker, the Trickster, and all these people, there aren't just people who make people laugh or anything like that. These are highly diverse thinking, intellectually and intuitively powerful individuals that can play and utilize all of their mental faculties and everything they do to get whatever job they is done, and they can play any role. It just said that Sigmas are outside of the hierarchy in the same way that the Joker cards are kind of like wild cards. These are the wild cards of society, are Sigmas. So they are in a sense Jokers.
2. They can lead without exerting authority. When we think of leaders, we tend
They can lead without exerting authority. So what does this look like? Now think about Jokers, right? Think about Jokers, because we're going back to Jokers and Tricksters. Do they need to assert themselves to gain authority?
to think of alpha men. Sigma males also make for excellent leaders, albeit with a different leadership style. They prefer to lead by example or mutual communication rather than establishing their dominance or authority. Sigmas will get what needs to be accomplished with a balanced approach to leadership. 3. They tend to be loners. It should not be confused with Sigma males disliking any social company. Instead, it means they do not often need people to have a good time. On the flip side, they can also be pleasant and friendly with the people they.
So think about we going back to the Jokers, right? They can be the center of attention, but ask the question, what do they do when they're alone? Nobody ever asked that question. What do they do when they're alone? They can be both. I can see a Joker making everybody laugh and everything like that, and they go to their room and they go read books and do philosophy. I can see that being what a Joker is or a Trickster is. This is what they're doing. So the term loner, it's a trick. That term loner is a trick, because it doesn't mean that they in a sense of being like loners. It just means that they can be, they don't need people to feel validated in who they are.
So powerful. But
they can lead and they can get validation from people, but it isn't why they're doing it. But they can. The reason why they're doing it, because think about it, the Joker has the most power. Why? Because it doesn't has the position of the king. The king can get killed and everything like that. No one's gonna kill the freaking Joker. They love to be entertained. They love to be happy. He's secure, and he can go anywhere and basically, in a sense, do just about anything, and he gets paid good to do that. So he's more flexible than everybody else. He doesn't have to play the power game. So in the sense of it, he's outside that hierarchy while still in it. He's not validated by it. While the nobility and the king has to be validated by his subjects. This is the power that a trickster, that these archetypes have.
They like. 4. They are flexible.
While
alpha or beta males are more rigid when it comes to the personalities and environments they prefer to be in, Sigma males can adapt to most circumstances, even if they don't enjoy them. They can perform well under different social.
Goes back to the Joker mentality. They can be the life of the party, but they can also do the other.
Situations, team compositions, and even outside their comfort zones. 5. They are themselves regardless of who is watching. While others may tend to be around other people or show a particular face to society, Sigma males tend to be themselves regardless of who is around. They will be more or less the same person when alone as they are around other people, making it a remarkable attribute. 6. They are good listeners. Sigma males tend to be good listeners as they understand the value of silence and respect when others speak as a matter of mutual courtesy. They give importance to content rather than the volume, and thus listen well and speak when required. 7. They have an ambiguous morality. Sigma males tend to see right and wrong in complex scenarios. In this regard, they may harbor a sympathetic attitude towards certain people other than judging them outright. It also
So this is different. How is this different from the innocent fool archetype? Now they have an ambiguous morality. This is what Sigmas have. Now, what's that different from the innocent fool archetype? The
What does
child.
ambiguous mean?
Ambiguous mean that it's more it's more vague. Their morality is vague.
So maybe it's like the difference between someone like this and a fool would be their, I guess, dream or their vision they have for themselves. Like it's big.
Well, more so in morality standpoint, right? We were talking about innocence. What morality would an innocent person have or a child have on good and bad? Like, think about, is it colorful or is it black and white for a child as far as good and bad?
Oh, I would say colorful.
Usually, but when a child says yes or no, they just say yes or no.
Oh, in terms of that.
Yeah, like morality,
Simplicity.
like this is lying is bad. I don't like her singing. I don't like when you talk that way. It's very much yes or no. But they're saying that for Sigma, it's more adaptive and it's more complex. Whereas innocent is more able to judge somebody. It's like they say that someone's able to tell who you are in the first encounter of meeting you. Sigmas more so don't do that. They more so analyze you or get the feel for you over time versus the initial approach of you're ugly or you're bad.
Right.
also makes them critical thinkers who analyze all aspects of the issue before passing judgment on it. 8. They have rusty social skills. Sigma males can come off as a little abrasive or uninterested since they rarely have emotional reactions and are direct while communicating. While some may see this as rude, it's a consequence of them being good listeners. They do not disguise their intent with flowery language or flattery. 9. They can fit into friend groups but do not rely on them. Sigma males are flexible, making it easy for them to fit into different social groups and get along with people. However, it does not mean they are dependent on social groups or friends. They are content and happy on their own and stay the same, irrespective of their social circle. 10. They decide their future. While alphas thrive in a high-functioning environment and betas do well in a passive, low-stress environment, Sigma males succeed or fail on their terms. They know they are responsible for their fates and aren't as bound by their society or environment. They hold themselves accountable for their actions and consequences. 11. They tend to have small but close social circles. Sigma males don't feel the need to have big friend circles or impress crowds of people. Instead, they prefer to have a closer circle of friends they can trust and share the same wavelength. It may come off as antisocial but are not. 12. They are self-sufficient.
Number 12, self-sufficient. I like it. So these are just different social definitions or different cues of what a Sigma male is. However, as you know, you are the trickster, you're the creator of your life. You can create your own definition. But this is just a framework from which it works. So this is just I would say a different, in my concept, this is a different form of trickster. Is being a Sigma male, self-sufficient. The trickster and the joker and all these individuals are outside of the norm, but they also are they're self-sufficient within it. So let me put this. This is the female version. of what this looks like from this video. And after this, we're gonna be open for questions.
Digital Wonder presents the 15 signs of a Sigma female. We have all heard of the Alpha and Beta female. But what about the Sigma female? What do we know about this type of personality? Most people describe Sigma females as independent and free-spirited women who don't like to be tamed. They love to do their own thing in life, regardless of what people think. Unlike most women, the Sigma female prefers to work alone. They are often referred to as being introverted leaders. She might have close friends that are extroverts, but she is really an introvert. Sigma females are misunderstood, and sometimes men fear them. Some men find the Sigma female intriguing and mysterious. Regardless, the Sigma female is a strong and independent woman. Now let's dive into 15 key personality traits the Sigma female possesses. Number 1. She can be intimidating to men. Because of her demand for attention and respect, the Sigma female can appear intimidating to some men. What the Alpha female and Sigma female have in common is their level of self-confidence and self-respect. Unlike the Alpha, the Sigma female's confidence is more low-key. She knows how to use her personality to get what she wants in life. She knows exactly when to speak out or when to step back at the right moments. She doesn't allow people to disrespect her, and she'll cut them out of her life if they do. Number 2. She is loyal. What makes a Sigma a good friend is her ability to stay loyal to the people in her life. She will shower her friends with love and respect no matter what. When her friends really need her, the Sigma female will be there. She loves helping other people. She will use every opportunity to be there for you. If you do something for her, the Sigma will never forget that, and she will try to repay you back 10 times more. If you have a Sigma female in your corner, she will always have your back and will stand up for you. Number 3. They are unique. This trait makes a Sigma female shine in both a positive and a negative light. Her uniqueness makes her irresistible to most people. She's an independent, free-thinking woman. This makes her exciting because it adds to the mysterious aura she exudes. Conversely, her unique ways can be somewhat annoying to some people. There is a sense of duality with a Sigma female that makes her an extremely unique individual, whether some people like it or not. Number 4. She never forgets. She does not stand for injustice around her, especially if it's done to her or the people she loves. When the Sigma female gets hurt, she doesn't forget about it easily. The Sigma female will want to.
But yes, these are just different, a different iteration of this. Which this is a video, YouTube video of it. But you know, there are more expansive or more different iterations of what this looked like. But these are just different examples, I would say, of what these different archetypes throughout time look like. And I feel that the newest version of that is this concept of Sigma. And by you developing some of these qualities, you are able to live a life in the way that you want to live in, or be the person that you want to be, and start to really move that needle forward in business or anything like that by utilizing these things. Which first, it all starts from being the Fool and developing along the way to be these other qualities and develop these things to where you can just basically be the boundary crosser and the boundary creator in whatever way. So we don't go into that. This is the iteration of the portion I was talking about. Instigation. Grow unconditionally. Love your inner child or love your fool. Constantly ask questions. One of the things it also said was ask questions. Test your limits and laugh more. Now, integration. How will you shift your perception or lens on the fool? So how will you, asking y'all now, how will you shift or start to shift your perception, your lens, your belief, your attitudes around being the fool? How will you start to do that now?
So I would say the fool is more of the the I want to say like optimistic. I guess just like it's open for adventure, I would say. Like
Mm.
ready to go on a journey. You know, it's like the starting point of the journey.
So how will you start to implement this energy type, or start to develop this fool, this trickster, this sigma nature? How will you start to do that?
I think by experimenting, by trying new things, because that's how you learn. That's how the fool becomes a genius, by experimenting and trying new things and learning.
Mm.
So, you know, whether it be maybe trying some new form of talking to someone, or you're implementing it in your case by trying new forms of teaching.
Mm.
And what's interesting is this really the concept of being the fool can really be applied to anything in life, anything.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It definitely can. It definitely can. That's why this is powerful. It's very powerful. Very powerful. And once you can be the fool and laugh at your foolishness and strategize and moving. And this is how I'm reforming, right? This is what the word fool means to me now. Fully present, open to opportunities, optimizing the adventure, loyal to the goal. That's how I reframe fool. So that's what fool means to me now. It's this.
Like
So how will you trick your mind? This is just something to think about when we're talking about the juster and the trickster. How will you trick your mind to think in new ways, to be in new ways? For me, this is one of the ways. I've reformed the word trickster to talented, resolute, intelligent, curious, courageous. You might be looking, that's not how you spell courageous. Yes, it is, because I tricked myself. It's a K instead of a C now. Shape shifting, transforming, eager, rebellious, because I just rebelled by putting a K there, because that's what I do.
nice.
So how will you trick your mind? That's exactly how. I don't have to confine to the rules of English if I don't want to. I don't have to do that. People do it all the time with their own slang. I'm stuck. So how will you
I
trick your
think
mind? So yeah,
I
go ahead.
yeah, I think it's a very like when you're thinking in terms of a trickster, I was just thinking earlier, it's a very unfiltered way of thinking. And what I mean by that is like you literally are limitless. Like you literally, if this idea comes to mind, you do it. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. You do it and see what happens. And I think that's kind of the meaning of a trickster. And I think if I was to apply it, I would probably think like, okay, well, I want to go talk to this girl. So what could I say to kind of I don't know, get her to kind of get interested in me. And you know what I'm kind of doing in a sense is just basically giving myself more reasons why I can do this than why I can't, if that makes sense.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. And it's
I like
So
that.
yeah,
I like that approach. That makes good sense.
yeah, and I
That's
was
a
yeah,
good
thinking,
perspective.
yeah, and I was thinking make her laugh. That's what I was
yeah, make
thinking.
her laugh.
That's
Yeah,
that's that's implementing the fool, the juster are the juster aspect of the fool when talking to female. You make her laugh. Like, or if you want to go the sigma, which is the integrated within reality we have now, maybe you go for a more mysterious approach.
mm,
So it's like these things are different tricks or different things that you can, as I say, tricks or tips, different tricks or tips you can do and play around and experiment and see what boundaries you will create and what boundaries you will cross and how you will go about it. And constantly be a fool again and again and again, because just because you were a fool once and it's so-called quote unquote failed, there are people who have persisted in getting that girl and it took them a year to do it, but they still persisted. You may have called them a fool along the way until they got her, but they did. So it's just different ways in which you can really trick yourself, and play around with that and really get that going. So it's this is a very interesting concept, and this goes back to what we talked about in the previous lessons, about like lenses and rewriting your memories and doing all these wonderful these cool tricks. You know what I'm saying? These are implementations to open up the door between your conscious and subconscious mind to be able to make shifts that other people aren't able to. People start saying, how your life, how did all this happen? Oh, it was a trick. It was a trick. That was it. It was a trick. I just tricked myself. You know what I'm saying? It's little subtleties that you can really start to play with your mind. Because if you ever looked at any trickster story, they play with boundaries. Like they play with words. It's like you tell them something, they said, but you said, and they quote exactly what you said, but they twisted it in their own way. You can start doing that with what names people call you, with things you may say about yourself. But you said I was a fool, but a fool is a good thing, because right here it says fully present, open opportunities, optimal adventure, and loyal to goal. That sounds wonderful to me. I would love for you to keep calling me that. You just tricked yourself. They're like, what? And you just pushed a boundary. So it's just these little subtleties in which you can start to do the change and trick yourself to think in new ways. So yeah.
I like that.
So yeah, man. But you have any
Yeah, I just want to say, like, I feel like it would be good to kind of be more like the jack of all trades. And what that means is like be a person of a little bit of everything, you know? Be the fool, be the trickster, be the Sigma, be the Joker, all of it in one, because you can do that.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of, like you said, tricking your mind into believing that.
Mhm. Yeah, pretty much.
That's
Because
all
what
it
this
is.
it's the fool is the precursor to the master. So to become
Yeah.
so that's the goal. And it's like, what are you gonna master? What are you gonna master? What is it gonna be? So it's it's a powerful journey. It's a powerful journey. But yeah,
Very.
so you got any questions, anything for me before we head out?
Man, how did you create such an amazing recording? That's the only
You
question I could
I
think of.
oh you wanna know? I literally made this today.
Wow.
I literally made it today. See, this is not quite literally. I literally had just made this to this Grand Rising. That's when I literally started on this. So this was just
Wow.
made today. So this what I'm saying. This is how these tricks work. I literally just made this
Yeah.
today from reading
Wow.
and
Did
doing
you play like a card game or something and get inspired? Like, oh, wow, all these different names. The
no, it's
Joker.
been it's these all these concepts have been cooking in me for a while, and they kind of just all
Wow.
clicked, and I put it into the cloud. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I literally just all made it all today using the framework that I told you, which was investigation, questions, um, information, the information you saw, instigation, how could you use it, or steps you can start making, and then um, what's it called, integration. Start integrating into who you are. So,
Wow.
so yeah,
That is so creative. Wow.
it's being a trickster. It's being a
Yeah.
trickster. You know what I'm saying? And while I was making a class, I'm like, I'm a fool to do this today. But I was like, I'm gonna do it. And the class came together because I tricked myself into making it. So it's that same concept. You do the same thing. But yeah.
I think the moral of the story here is be the fool. Be
Mm,
the fool.
yeah, be the fool. But yeah, so that's gonna be that. I'm gonna definitely be back here. I'm gonna be changing the times. I'm thinking about. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna change the times for Soul and Craft and Prosperity Travel to be earlier, because I feel
Yeah.
like more people. I work better earlier rather than
Mhm.
later, and I can do more. I can do more of my creative work in the afternoon, get all that stuff. So the next class is
That's
gonna be. I'm gonna let y'all know
wow.
what time it's gonna, but it's gonna be earlier. So yeah.
That's so amazing how that works out. Just because like I'm starting to get a new position in my work and it's gonna be later in the day and I was just thinking, man, it'd be nice if Trade On could have his times earlier. And here you are saying it. So that's just amazing.
Yeah,
That's just
that's That's how it works. That's how it works. But yeah, so that's gonna be that. I'm gonna have this recording up, get this going. But yeah, man, definitely tune in. Definitely appreciate you being
Always,
here.
man.
And as I
Always.
say, stay inspired and stay tricky. All right, man. All right.
All right.